Welcome back to LexTalk. It's great to have you with us again. This is Season 5, Episode 10, and today we're doing a deep dive into something really relevant for us here.
Absolutely. We're looking at English in Southeast Asia.
Specifically, English as a lingua franca, or ELF, within the Asian countries, how it's actually, used on the ground.
Yeah, think diplomacy, business, education, how English kind of glues things together in this incredibly diverse region. We've looked at quite a bit of material on this.
Reports, studies on language use.
Exactly. To really understand its role.
And our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We want to understand the practical function of English as this common tool in ASEAN, and importantly, what that means for, say, English language teaching right here in Thailand and across the region.
Has some big implications.
Definitely. So let's start at the beginning. What exactly is English as a lingua franca, ELF?
Okay, so put simply, ELF is basically English used as a common language between people who have different first languages.
Right, like a go-between language.
Precisely.
Hmm.
And the key thing is, the main goal isn't to sound like a quote-unquote native speaker.
Hmm.
The goal is mutual understanding. It's about getting your message across and understanding the other person.
So it's more about function than form, in a way. Less about perfecting an accent.
Exactly that. The focus shifts. It's not about sticking rigidly to, say, British or American norms. It's about clarity, being adaptable in your communication, and ultimately just succeeding in understanding each other.
Successful communication.
That's the measure.
Can you give us an example, like a concrete situation within ASEAN where this happens?
Sure. Imagine a Thai engineer,
Okay.
and they're talking to a supplier from Vietnam. Their native languages are totally different.
Right. Thai and Vietnamese.
So they use English to sort out a business deal.
Mm.
Now, in that conversation, are they worried about perfect grammar or a flawless accent? Probably not.
They just need to agree on the details.
Exactly. They need to clearly explain their needs, understand the terms, reach an agreement. That's practical ELF right there.
Got it. Okay, so that makes sense as a tool, but why is it so significant, so vital, specifically within ASEAN, given all the languages already here?
Well, that's the thing. ASEAN has 10 member countries,
10, yeah.
and most have completely distinct national languages. You've got Thai, Vietnamese, Malay, Tagalog, Burmese. I mean, the list goes on.
Huge linguistic diversity.
Huge.
Yeah.
So culturally, that's amazing, but for regional cooperation, you need a common tongue.
And that's where English comes in.
Yes, by agreement, English is the official working language of ASEAN.
The working language, that's a strong statement of its role. Where do we actually see this in action?
Oh, it's everywhere in the ASEAN machinery.
Yeah.
Diplomacy, for instance.
How so?
Well, all the regional agreements, the treaties, the high-level discussions between leaders or ministers from different member states, that all happens in English.
So it's the language of negotiation and policy.
Definitely. And think about trade and tourism, too. English is crucial for businesses operating across borders, for attracting international tourists, for running big regional events.
Okay, trade, tourism, diplomacy. What else?
Education is another big one, especially higher education. Many universities use English as the medium of instruction for postgraduate programs or collaborative research projects involving people from different ASEAN countries. Student exchanges, too.
Right, so it facilitates academic collaboration as well.
It really does. It's like this invisible infrastructure that connects everyone.
That's a good way to put it, an invisible infrastructure.
And maybe the most important point here is that using English allows all this collaboration without giving special status to any single local language.
Ah, so it's a neutral ground.
Exactly. It provides a level playing field, linguistically speaking, for regional communication.
That's really interesting. Okay, so if English is this central official working language, this neutral tool, what does this mean for teaching English, especially for our students here in Thailand?
It means, fundamentally, that we need to prepare Thai students to use English in a world where they'll interact with tons of different English speakers.
Not just native speakers.
Mostly not native speakers in many contexts. They'll be talking to people from Vietnam, Indonesia, Singapore, the Philippines, but also from China, Japan, Germany, all using English as a common language.
So exposure to different accents, different ways of speaking English becomes really important.
Crucial. Absolutely crucial.
Which implies maybe less focus on hitting one specific native target, like perfect RP or general American.
I think that follows, yes. The main goal in the classroom should probably shift more towards overall comprehensibility.
Can they make themselves understood?
Yes. And can they understand others, even if the English isn't perfect, according to some narrow native speaker standard? That's effective communication. That should be the aim.
Okay, this sounds like it requires a pretty big shift in how English is taught. What would that look like in practice? How can teachers actually do this?
Well, teachers can start by modeling ELS strategies themselves, showing students how it works.
Like using simpler language sometimes, or checking for understanding more often.
Exactly. And using activities that simulate real intercultural communication. Role plays involving different ASEAN scenarios, maybe. Using authentic materials, too, like news clips or interviews featuring non-native speakers using English effectively.
So broadening the input beyond just, the standard British or American coursebook recordings.
Definitely. Helping students develop English that works globally, that's intelligible everywhere, not just in London or Los Angeles.
Can you give a really concrete classroom activity example? Something a teacher listening right now could try.
Okay, how about this? A collaborative online project. Pair Thai students with students in, say, Malaysia or the Philippines.
Okay.
Give them a task. Maybe they have to jointly research and present on environmental issues in their cities or plan a virtual youth summit. They'd have to use clear, straightforward English to coordinate and get the job done together.
Right. The task itself forces them to communicate effectively. It's not just about grammar rules.
Precisely. It mirrors real-world ELF use, task-based learning for intercultural communication.
That sounds much more engaging than just drills. But are there obstacles to making this shift? Challenges in getting people to adopt this ELF perspective?
Oh, for sure. There are definitely hurdles. One big one is perception.
How so?
Well, this deep-seated idea that native-like pronunciation and grammar are the gold standard. Many educators, parents, even students themselves might still hold that view very strongly.
Yeah, that's a long-held belief. It's hard to shift that mindset.
It takes time, yeah. And then there's the issue of teacher training.
What about it?
Many current English teachers might not have had specific training in, intercultural communication or the principles of teaching ELF. They might feel much more comfortable sticking to the traditional native speaker models they were taught.
So a lack of training and maybe confidence in teaching this way.
Could be, yeah. And another related challenge is assessment.
Ah, the tests.
Right. National exams or standardized tests often still put a huge emphasis on grammatical accuracy, sometimes based on very specific native speaker rules.
Even if minor grammatical errors don't actually impede understanding.
Exactly. So the tests might end up valuing grammatical perfection over genuine communicative effectiveness in diverse situations, which sends a conflicting message.
So the assessment system itself might be pushing teachers and students away from an ELF approach, even if it makes sense in the real world.
It can, yes.
Yeah.
The pressure to perform well on those tests is significant.
So if these are the challenges, the mindset, the training, the testing, what can be done? How can we move towards a more ELF-aware approach?
Well, a key step has to be teacher education, both pre-service for new teachers and in-service professional development for current teachers.
Building ELF awareness and practical strategies right into the training.
Exactly. Giving teachers the tools, the knowledge, the confidence, and then ideally aligning the curriculum and the assessment methods more closely with communicative competence.
So rethinking the test.
Rethinking what the tests prioritize. Maybe drawing on frameworks like the CEFR, the Common European Framework, but adapting them with a specific ELF lens, focusing on intelligibility and effective communication in intercultural contexts.
Okay. These are really significant points for anyone involved in English education in the region. And that brings us towards the end of this particular deep dive.
Yeah, it's been a good discussion. I think if there's one main takeaway, it's that English, especially here in ASEAN, is primarily a tool.
A tool for connection.
For connection, for collaboration. And in that reality, being understood and understanding others across language backgrounds, that's really what matters most, more than chasing some idealized, often unattainable native speaker perfection.
Absolutely. A really practical perspective. And we hope this conversation continues for all of you listening, the educators, parents, language enthusiasts. Keep exploring, keep discussing.
Your experiences are so valuable.
Definitely. And please do keep up with us. Follow LexTalk on all our platforms, the website, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Just search for @LexTalk Podcast. We'd love to stay connected.
Share your thoughts.
Let's talk, let's learn, let's LexTalk, and maybe leave you with a final thought to ponder. How could things really change in English classrooms across Thailand and ASEAN if we truly shifted the focus? Away from perfect grammar towards effective, clear communication for a connected region? Something to think about.